For those of you who have seen the videos of the 3 families we chose this year to share their love and why they love Congregation Beth Yeshurun, you understand why we chose this family this evening to speak to us. Marion and Gabi Braun, their son Dan and his wife Taryn, are active members of the Houston Jewish community. Dedicated to their service in the community, the Braun family has supported the Emory Weiner School, APAC, the Jewish Federation, and Congregation Beth Yeshurun. Their family is intimately tied to our synagogue, as this is where it all began. Marion and Gabi were married by Rabbi Siegel and sent their son to Beth Yeshurun Day School. Dan and Taryn now raise their 4 boys in our day school and synagogue. The family's connection to Beth Yeshurun is ongoing and truly beautiful. It's my honor this evening to have Gabi and then his son Dan address our congregation.
Since I first started to write this message, things have changed drastically in our family's life. Rabbi Strauss, his fellow rabbis, are here again for us. The synagogue is a very special place for me and my family. I'm proud to say that I have formed a special relationship with each of the rabbis over the years. Rabbi Siegel is not here, unfortunately. He was in another service. We met in 1972 when I first arrived from Lufkin, Texas. Through an introduction that he made with me with Beth Yeshurun congregant, I was able to get my first job in Houston at M.W. Kellogg, and the rest is history. He officiated our wedding, Dan's bar mitzvah, and he and Toby have been a big part of our lives. Rabbi, thank you for all that you have done and thank you for always coming to my in-laws, to welcoming my in-laws from Cuero, Texas, by saying, we have guests here from Israel, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and even Cuero, Texas. It always made them feel special. Rabbi Rosen, our first meeting was not under ideal circumstances. We first met when you visited me at Methodist Hospital. You have always been there for our family. No, I'm sorry. 2 years ago, you gave me such a bracha, blessing, calling a few moments before Kol Nidre service, Kol Nidre service started. I will always remember that, Rabbi. You have always been there for our family and enjoyed listening to your sermons, especially when you expressed your passion for Israel. Thank you for everything. Last but not least, Rabbi Morgan, thank you for the time you spent with me and all of the thoughtful circumstances regarding the Jewish community and Israel. Marion and I wish all of you the best health, happiness, and coming year. Tonight is Erev Yom Kippur, or as we refer to it, Kol Nidre night. This is a time when we'll ask that all our previous commitments made last year will be dissolved. This makes me think, why not turn dissolve into resolve? Hurricane Harvey came and had a disastrous effect on our synagogue and many of our congregants. Our community was desperately hurt, and Beth Yeshurun was damaged in a staggering amount of approximately $6 million. Without our members' financial commitment and the community at large, we would have not been able to reconstruct Beth Yeshurun. A year later, what a miracle. Most of Beth Yeshurun is fully functioning and operating. Look around you and see what our members and community have achieved in past year. Many of us are not utilizing the synagogue to its fullest. As I stand here before you, I'm committing to attend services on Friday evenings or Shabbat mornings as much as I can. I would like to see that all of us take an hour or two out of our busy weekly routine and make Shabbat a festive and meaningful day. With this in mind, perhaps we might want to commit to lighting candles on Friday nights and have Shabbat meals with cell phones are put away and televisions are turned off. A time to make Shabbat special and spend time with our families and friends. We need Beth Yeshurun to be here, strong and vibrant, to be here for good and bad times, for classes, for events, and of course spirituality. To have it here for our children and grandchildren, 2 of them out of 4. The synagogue has so much to offer. For it to continue to be here, for all of us, we must commit to financially support it as much as we can. Thank you all. As I speak here tonight, Marion is watching the service. I'm sorry. Marion is watching the service while live streaming from our home, as is her 98 years old mother. This is another example of synagogue being more than being there for our family. Marion and I wish all of you very healthy, happy, peaceful year here in the United States and Israel. Shana Tova u'metuka and Gmar Chatima Tova.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dan Braun, and you've already met my dad, Gabi. And this is my wife, Taryn, and my 2 oldest sons, Jacob and Ryan. Unfortunately, my mother, Marion, couldn't be here tonight, nor could Aiden, my 3-year-old, or Asher, my 4-year-old, as I'm not sure they would have been well-behaved at this hour. Beth Yeshurun has a different meaning for all of us. I'm here to share what the synagogue means to me and my family. I stand here as the son of an Israeli father and a mom from Cuero, Texas, where they were the only Jewish family in their city. Also, my wife, Taryn, is the granddaughter of Holocaust survivors. Our culture and our family's history are very important to us. As I look around this room tonight, I don't just see congregants. I feel a connection. I feel a community. I see a group of people who are connected in a way that is difficult to explain. I assume that most of you feel this as well. Every time I walk through the front door of Beth Yeshurun, I get a feeling that's a mix of nostalgia, of warmth, and of home. When I come to Beth Yeshurun, it reminds me of who I am. My family's relationship with this synagogue dates back to 1910, when my great-grandfather was a trustee at the synagogue. My parents ended up back in Houston, where, as my dad said, Rabbi Siegel married them, then performed my Brit Milah, then performed my Bar Mitzvah, where my dad, me, and both of my grandfathers stood and read from the Torah right here. Years later, Rabbi Strauss married Taryn and I, and then a few years after that, Rabbi Strauss was there to conduct a Brit Milah every 18 months, 4 times. Taryn and I look forward to Rabbi Strauss being there for 4 weddings as well. I remember being in this very chapel hundreds or thousands of times, starting back when I was a child at Beth Yeshurun Day School. I have so many wonderful memories here. I remember sitting there as a child with my dad. Many times he wouldn't let me go outside and play with my friends during this very Kol Nidre service. I sat wondering why he was so emotional and why he wanted me to sit here. He'd hold my hand or put his arm around me. But now I understand. I feel why he was so emotional. As I sit here tonight with my boys, my wife, my dad, and my friends, all I want is time to stand still. For my family and many families in this room, what is really special is how as Beth Yeshurun, its clergy, its staff, they're all here for us. The rabbis have been here for my family when we've needed them, and even when we really didn't realize that we needed them. They have constantly visited us in the hospital when our family members were sick. On one occasion, I remember my youngest son, Aiden, was in the hospital, and it was very stressful. And you were in the hospital too. Without even knowing, Rabbi Strauss showed up, and he was there to comfort us, without us even knowing. They were there for my grandfather's memorial service. They've been there when my father was ill. And it wasn't just hospital visits. The past 2 years, my dad couldn't make it here on Rosh Hashanah. So instead, the community brought Rosh Hashanah to my parents. Rabbi Siegel, for the past 2 years, has been in my parents' home during the high holidays with my children, some of our closest friends who are congregants, and we blew the shofar and conducted the prayers of our ancestors and the prayers and the rituals of our ancestors. Now that is something special. That's what this place is about. If you need a place to celebrate or if you need a place to mourn, Beth Yeshurun is here. As I said before, my mother isn't here tonight. But just because she isn't here tonight doesn't mean she's not part of this evening. She's watching us online via live streaming. And what's even cooler, as my dad said, my 98-year-old grandmother can listen to the service tonight. That is something else that this synagogue does for us. As I look around, I see many of my childhood friends. And what's even more special is I see my closest childhood friends and their kids doing exactly what our parents did with us. My children go to school at Beth Yeshurun Day School and spend every Friday in the Friedman Levitt Chapel enjoying Shabbat. And many Fridays, we join them as well. Beth Yeshurun is giving my 4 boys knowledge of Judaism and our traditions. But even more so, it's giving them a sense of belonging, a sense of community, and a connection to their history that allows them to connect with their grandparents and even their great-grandparents. We're all really busy. I get it. I have 4 kids, 7 and under. But there's so much for this place, and it has so much to offer. I'm hopeful that this year everyone will explore our synagogue even further. I hope that you will join our family in attending not only the beautiful Shabbat and holiday services, but also the various programs and events that are held here regularly. If you're completely new to this synagogue, I hope that you'll attend as often as you can and see the magic that I'm speaking about tonight. I know this past year was really hard for many of us, but it was hard on our congregation too. I'm so happy to be back in this sanctuary, and it took the kindness and generosity of our community for us to be here. If you're going to give tzedakah this year, please give some to Beth Yeshurun. If you already give to Beth Yeshurun, please consider giving more. Beth Yeshurun is an amazing place, so let's all do our best to make it the best Beth Yeshurun it can be. Shana Tova, and thank you.
Thank you, Dan and Gabi, for your beautiful words. In this new year, Gabi, we pray for health for you and your beautiful wife, Marion. We pray that it's a good year of health and peace for all of your family.